So Stella, again, really appreciate you coming and being on the adults table. I was very moved by you were on another podcast, I think, and you were telling your mother's story and your story, and about all the hurdles that you guys were able to circumnavigate. So very much admire you and your history. You're a CEO, you're a founder, you're an executive advisor, for life sciences firms. Could you maybe just give our audience a little background or a little refresher on who you are to the world?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I appreciate the kind comments, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I think it's difficult to summarize a passion, but I think at heart, I'm a scientist. I'm a healthcare provider with a mission to provide a cure to someone who maybe has limited options now. So if I look at that as my driving force for everything that I do and everything that I am, pretty much grounded in the story of my mom, I stay true to helping brilliant minds, whether they're physicians or PhDs or inventors, to take their company further. So everything that I do, from being a founder and CEO or an advisor, is really honed in on, am I making a difference? Am I enabling this therapy, this technology or device to come to life and make a difference in somebody else's life? So everything else seems to line up after that. So I started out in science, then I went through multiple business degrees and doctorate degrees, and ultimately doing the 360 to be able to connect the science translated into business and operations, with the hope to revolutionize how therapeutic assets come to life.
That's awesome. So essentially, you're a scientist, but you're also a super connector. You're also a business professional. So you've been able to sort of figure out how to leverage all of those skills in order to, empower some of those key technologies and passionate scientists to get their medicines and businesses to the next level. So I think that's great. Is there something that you're working on now, an ongoing initiative, or maybe something from your past that you can share about how you were able to navigate that to a successful outcome?
Well, I think the best way maybe I can share is by highlighting Likarda. And I think when I will talk about this, a lot of people will be able to relate. So Likarda is a brilliant drug delivery technology. It actually, company started out as a type 1 diabetes therapeutic. And as they were solving type 1 diabetes, they had to develop a technology. So a lot of us kind of face this, where we start and where we transform to may not be the same thing. But what the company has done is they actually realized really quickly that, look, this technology we created, this encapsulation, could actually solve the challenge of other cell therapy therapeutics and biologics and vaccines and so forth. So the company had to transform. And we learn a lot about transformation is a challenge. And we know that running therapeutic company is very different than perhaps managing a CDMO or drug delivery company. So the challenge is, how do you scale up successfully a production and commercialize the hydrogel encapsulation technology for cell therapy applications? So that requires redefining the space, redefining who we are. To be able to successfully scale up the production, we need to now understand, well, what do we need in order to scale up? Is it different engineering tools that we need to create, develop to bring it to scale? We have to look at clients a different way. How do we provide the value to the clients? Really going back to, what are the significant improvements do we have for patients for those therapeutics? So it seems like it's an extension of the offering, but in essence, being able to translate a company from a therapeutic to a drug delivery company, it's really looking at the vision, the mission, the operational excellence in a very different perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you guys are in this, so if it's drug delivery technology, as you're, sort of scaling into, I guess, delivering commercialization, are you selling the technology sort of a platform so folks can then make their own better sort of drugs? Is that the pivot that you were kind of talking about and doing that and scaling out that?
Yes, it's absolutely the solution. So Likarda's vision for us is to revolutionize the way that therapeutic agents are delivered and administered, right? So it's really about transforming the landscape of healthcare. The technology was created and we aim to pioneer that breakthrough treatments that will be safer, more efficacious, really focused around cell therapy and solid tumors. Really focused around improving patient care because we're able to have an extended release versions of our molecules that sustain therapeutic efficacy, overcoming some of the limitations such as rapid clearance or immune system invasion. I think we're now working with clients that have really faced some significant challenges, like in liver cell space. It's a really difficult area, and we have been able to successfully demonstrate how our CSS platform can encapsulate these cells to protect the molecules from enzymatic degradation and immune clearance, right? So it's really all about what are we doing as a pharmaceutical industry with cell therapy and biologics in order to drive innovation. And I really believe that encapsulation is a major solution to a lot of the key barriers that Likarda is overcoming. So we're right now creating automation, optimization, and production workflows in order to demonstrate how we can partner together with the companies, therapeutic companies, in order to be able to achieve the goal together, that vision to improve patient outcomes together.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess, and it's really exciting, that pivot. How did you get people to believe in Likarda? I assume that you had a vision, or a small team had a vision of this pivot, that, hey, we're going to go down this route to scale a platform. Some people will take the technology and actually try to make drugs themselves, try to develop drugs, be a drug company. But going this platform and partnership route, how did you communicate and get people to believe?
So I think the first communication had to happen is internal, right? The Likarda team needed to believe that this is in the best interest of the company, is to be able to grow the platform versus growing a therapeutic asset, one therapeutic asset at a time. Second came being able to have enough data. And fortunately, over 7 years, Likarda has created tremendous amount of data and published data. So we had something to talk about. We talked about technology to key opinion leaders. We talked about technology to investors. We talked about technology to current CEOs of other therapeutic companies, asking them, what is their challenge? What is it they're trying to solve for? And then trying to really understand how Likarda is, if it is in fact addressing those needs. What do we need to do in order to give confidence? And honestly, as a biotech company, it's all about the data. So we have focused on being able to translate our vision and our hopes into demonstrating this is what happens when you encapsulate, CAR T. This is what happens when you encapsulate XYZ biologic. This is what happens when you use Likarda platform in cryopreservation and transportation. This is how you can avoid, for example, liquid nitrogen transportation. And then, honestly, before we even launched our PR campaign or any type of sophisticated marketing, people started coming up to us and asking us, can you help me solve this? And, honestly, we made it very easy. Like, you start working with Likarda, it's a very easy feasibility study. And it's quick, it's inexpensive, and we provide certainty that our technology can in fact make a difference for this asset before anybody needs to spend any type of significant investment or time. Because we understand that for startup companies or for companies looking for new angles, it has to be an ease of implementation, right? So we made it very easy to start the journey with us.
I think most people, right? They want to get started. They want things to be simple. So if you're somebody simple to work with, it's a lot better to work with clients and get stickier clients. So how does the world of, a lot of these therapeutic companies, they're doing, CAR T therapy, all these other, cell therapies, how do they prioritize medicine delivery? And or maybe just talk about that in general.
Well, I've been in this world for a very long time, and in my opinion, I think we look at drug delivery at the end of the journey. And I think primarily because there have been very limited options to improve drug delivery, specifically in cell therapy. And some of the options perhaps that were available weren't very good options that perhaps had immune response or tissue inflammation. So that really wasn't a good option. And also because when we're looking at, let's say, CAR T or CAR NK performance, look at the journey, right? We're looking at the Petri dish. So you have a controlled media environment, and then perhaps we move into a rodent model, and then that, assuming that goes well, we're excited about the data. We're moving into a larger animal, and then we're moving into human. And all of that is probably, 3 to 5 year journey. By the time you have your FDA approval or IND approval to go into human, your formulation is set. So then what we realized that phase 1 clinical trial is we're testing for safety. And a lot of times when we do test for safety, we also sort of have this early look unofficially into, well, what would the efficacy look like in phase 2? And that's when we started to really realize the difference between those Petri dishes and rodent models and other animal models and lack or poor translation into the human performance. So then we're trying to think, well, maybe we need to increase number of cells, or maybe we need to have the number of cells stay for a certain amount of time at that solid tumor location.
Yep.
So then we begin to think, oh my God, well, if we have to change the construct of that CAR T, according to FDA regulations, we have to go back all the way to the beginning. So that's another 5 years, 3 years maybe, but repeat all the studies. And people don't think about drug delivery as an option, even though we would be considered potentially an excipient. Not that I would give regulatory advice, but there is different ways to approach this that really haven't been done so far. So in the beginning of the study, we don't think about drug delivery or needing to solve for this. And then 3 years or 5 years later, we all of a sudden face this when you're already in the humans and trying to solve for either safety or efficacy challenges. That's, I think, is the disconnect Likarda is trying to address. And that's why we don't think of drug delivery right now as the first step in cell therapy. I believe we will get there. And I believe that what we're doing now and a lot of other innovations and technologies are joining the forces. Just like right now, we're thinking about it's not a problem to transport these cell therapies on liquid nitrogen. And then when you start thinking about application of that, we're thinking about, okay, well, when we launch this product, we're going to optimize the manufacturing. But the cost of transportation of liquid nitrogen is going to continue to go up. So if you think about the payer's perspective and ability to cover these medications and where can you possibly trim the cost, transportation is going to be a major area where we need to focus. So how do we cryopreserve? How do we transport? Because I'm going to tell you, it's a lot easier to put in a refrigerator from -80 to -20 on site than those deep freezers. The same thing goes for liquid nitrogen trucks. So there's just a lot we still are learning when it comes to cell therapy altogether.
Yeah. So what I heard is that, as these companies are going through the clinical trials and they get to the point where, they're getting approvals and things, they got their final formulations and things. Now they're starting to think about issues maybe with drug delivery or storage or things like that. And then it becomes an order of magnitude more difficult to maybe go back and make, formulation changes, get those approvals, things like that. And for Likarda, some of the value prop, I know it's a lot more, is sort of working up front with them to get ahead of some of these things from a design perspective, so they can keep those logistics costs low and other costs associated with just better delivery and I'm not as smart as you, but the degradation of some of these cells and enzymes, right? We want them to be able to be medicine for us longer. So yeah, that makes tremendous sense. So I guess as you've been doing this and building teams, how are you gauging success of Likarda in this pivot and your guys' ability to be this platform that can help out these therapeutic companies?
Well, success for us is being able to work with more companies, continue to demonstrate the superiority of the platform, and really demonstrating the outcomes that through utilizing our platform, we create better therapeutics. We create better logistical solutions. That is the best value of success. Now, what we're doing in order to get there, to your earlier question, is really by assembling these cross-functional teams with expertise in biotechnology, manufacturing, operational excellence, regulatory affairs, business development, in order to execute that strategic plan. Carefully leveraging the capital that raised and leveraging our partnerships to ensure adequate resources are placed towards research and development that we're evolving, and prioritizing existing clients, and then continuing to evolve our infrastructure.
Yeah, that's great. So you've got kind of these, like you said, cross-functional, I guess, pods, if you will, that help sort of, do that business development, find those folks where you can help them, do some of those feasibility studies, see, where your platform can work best for those products. So I think that's great. So Stella, what is next for Likarda and or maybe one of the other companies that you have? What next big thing is on the radar for you?
Well, for Likarda, we are really looking forward to bio and showing our evolution of our platform. We're about to publish very important study, so stay tuned on that. And we hope to be able to start making a huge difference in cryopreservation and logistics. So it's really all about optimizing and growing our platform. For oral Biolife, which is the company that I'm a founder of, that you're familiar with, it's really all about demonstrating our ability to revitalize bone. So it's a technology founded around dental need for bone regrowth. And the key milestone in the study that we're doing right now, actually in dogs, is to be able to show that our technology, in fact, does remineralize, regrows bone. And as someone that had to personally face periodontal issues and the issue with putting in a new tooth that just wouldn't take, I'm really awaiting the results and being able to actually launch this product to help a lot of people like me to have a healthier solution in bone remineralization and regrowing bone. Obviously, oral Biolife is going to go way beyond dental, and then hopefully be able to be a solution for other orthopedic issues when there is a need to regrow tissue or regrow bone. But a lot of studies are on the way, and very exciting studies.
That is exciting. So is the scope of the studies are just kind of to the bones in and around the mouth, and are you saying at some point that you might be able to help with orthopedic, and bone issues all over the body? So it's kind of starting, in the oral place and can expand from there.
Yes, we're starting in the oral space just because a lot of the studies already been done in the rodent model, and right now we're in dogs already are demonstrating that yes, in fact, that we have positive data that we do regrow, regenerate bone. The next step would be to solidify that data and go for long bones. So that would be the next orthopedic indication we would pursue as a company. But anybody who's been in regenerative medicine would tell you this. The holy grail is for us to keep going forward. We're looking at cell therapy as a way we can regenerate our bodies and eliminate some of the tumors, and we're looking at what else can we ignite our body to do? And if we can ignite it to regenerate bones and tissues, that would be an amazing solution for so many people.
That would be tremendously exciting because I don't think there's anything ironclad out there right now. And I know there's a lot of people, especially like with osteoporosis and things like that, that just have, and there's a lot of medicines out there, Stella, that cause over time osteoporosis. I've been on Nexium for like 20 years. And I know at some point that's gonna become a bone problem for me. So maybe oral Biolife will have something for me when that becomes a problem. But I think that's awesome that you guys are working on that as well. So Stella, anything else to share before we wrap up today?
Well, I'm always excited to work with people like you and help the founders. I spend probably 2-3 hours a week just talking to founders who have an idea, have a brilliant invention, and they just don't know how to go from an idea to a company that can be funded. Mm-hmm. So I want to say that, a long time ago, I was in that seat. I had an idea, but I had no idea how to build a company. So, okay, 30 years later, here I am. So I'm always welcoming an opportunity to give back and help my fellow innovators, entrepreneurs to, I guess, get the support that they need. Hopefully leveraging the network that I've built, that you've built, many other people that are open and willing to provide their time and expertise in order to help us all really create new treatments, new therapies. If we don't do it together, I think it's going to be a lot longer way and more challenging way for people to keep waiting for this invention. I keep talking about it's really all about saving that one person that could be waiting for that treatment, knowing that your expertise can be the answer to getting that treatment to that patient sooner is an amazing feeling.
Your passion shines through about patients, and I love that. And I've been in pharma, not nearly as long as you, but while it's almost become like a thing that people say, "Oh, patient first," but there's some people that you can you see it, you feel it, you see it in their eyes, patient first, and it's always those people that are the most successful and that help the most people because that's where the focus should be. And like I said, for somebody like you, it's got so much going on that still makes time for innovators and to connect them and to help them and things like that. I think it's great what you're doing for the industry and space. So again, Stella, really appreciate you coming on the show. And good luck to you in your businesses. And we'll be talking soon.